Welcome to another one of these. I apologize that I haven't done one in a couple of weeks, and that's mainly because I've been bloody busy at work, which is a blessing, so I'm not complaining. But I finally made it back out to the water's edge again, and as you can see behind me, yeah, most of you will recognize where I am. Typical of one of our northern South African lakes. If I just turn the camera that way, I'm actually at Roodeplaat Dam, the north of Pretoria, at a place called Vriend. I haven't been here in years. No, I'm lying. I've been here last year with a friend of mine. We did some bank angling and we caught some beautiful fish, despite what it looks like down here. Typical Roodeplaat, always got that green algae, always dirty, always full of rubbish and plastic bottles and that. But there you can see, whatever, it is what it is. It's close to home, so it was just a quick drive out. And today I'm actually here not to do as much fishing, although I do have a rod in the water currently, and I will be doing some fishing, but the main purpose of today is to test rods. And I've actually went and customized a couple of feeder rods like I usually do. So the main purpose is to try and see what these rods are capable of, and then obviously sharing that experience with you. Before I do anything else, I'm gonna need some coffee to get me through this. Look at this green algae, it's terrible. But this is how we've known Roodeplaat since I was a kid. And even though it's a bit disgusting to fish in and it looks like this on the bank, it's actually a well-maintained venue. There are some other anglers as well. It's a Wednesday, so I'm not expecting it to be crazy busy. I must say, beautiful atmosphere. I've even heard a fish eagle already. There's lots of fish activity on the water, so at least that's looking bright. Beautiful bird life as well. You can hear that kingfisher going there. So despite all of this, it's still lovely to be out here. And like I said, I'm going to be testing some rods. I customized a couple of cheap feeder rods to see if I make them slightly better what will happen, but I will run you through that. First, I just need to take some coffee. Look at these giant kingfishers. Right here, look at this. Two of them, ready to get breakfast. Beautiful. Okay guys, the purpose of today is to fish with this 12-foot rod that I will go into detail about the type of rod and what I've done to it in a while. But the purpose is to fish this rod at 65 meters. Now I know a lot of you might be watching this and think 65 meters, that's not very far. But I promise you, in feeder fishing terms, 65 meters is a hell of a long way. If you think about it, average distances for fishing feeder is like 25 to 50 max. So 65 is actually a long distance, or medium to long distance. And I want to see what this 12-foot rod is capable of. So let's get it back out there. 30 gram Guru medium window. And that's hit the clip beautifully. You'll see that I've actually managed to find myself a nice spot, a nice little concrete area. This is actually stand number 1 at Vriend. But the challenge here is there's so much debris and sticks and stuff. There's actually no hyacinth at the moment, but there's other things, and now I'm stuck to something, and I don't think it's a fish. And that is the challenge here at Roodeplaat, is to try and fish. Now I'm trying to fish a distance, which obviously if you're here to fish and have an enjoyable day and try and catch loads of fish, then obviously just fishing at 15 to 20 meters is going to be much easier, much better, and you will actually catch a lot of fish. There's crazy amounts of fish like swimming right under our feet. But that's not the purpose of today. The purpose of today is to test rods. and I think I've just hooked a plastic bag. Yep, there you can see. So first bite of the day from a plastic bag. Now if you don't catch at least 10 plastic bags in a day at Rödeplaat, then you haven't come to Rödeplaat. Anyway, but like I mentioned, if you want to come here and have a great day's fishing, you can. So it's not all negative. You can have a nice day's fishing if you fish at like 20-25 meters. There's lots of tilapia, lots of small carp, lots of catfish, and you can have a great day, especially on the feeder. I'm out here on my box and I'm testing a rod that I've recently bought. Now this is quite a cheap rod. It's actually a very cheap rod. It's a Daiwa Matchman method feeder 12-foot version. And what I've done with the rod is I've stripped all the guides off. I've customized it to my liking, and I've actually went and I put Fuji K-Series guides on here. Now these guides will obviously improve the action of the rod, the anti-tangle properties of the rod, and obviously the smooth ceramic on the inside of Fuji guides will help to let your line last so much longer. So overall, just putting these guides on is already an improvement. Obviously, the proof is in the tasting of the pudding, and we need to test it to see if it's capable of casting any substantial distance. Now you will notice that I am actually fishing a classic style feeder. The hook link is twisted up nicely at the moment, which I'm trying to get rid of. But apart from that, I want to see if I can fish this rod classic feeder style, clipped up at 65 meters. Now 65 meters might not sound like a long way for a lot of anglers, especially if you're watching this and you're not a feeder angler, you're a bank angler or whatever. But I can promise you that 65 meters in feeder fishing terms is actually a hell of a long way. And to be able to fish there comfortably with a feeder rod isn't the easiest thing in the world to do. So that's what I'm going to try and do today. I'm going to try and see if the improvements that I've made on the rod will help it to reach that sort of distance a bit easier. Now I'm not going extreme. I'm not fishing extreme feeders. I'm starting off with a 30 gram Guru medium caged window feeder. I'm plugging it full of particle and then just capping it off with ground bait. So nothing fancy, nothing weird, nothing too specialized. I think it's just worth mentioning the reel I've got on here is actually that Okuma Seamore 5000 HD. And the HD version on these reels are incredible because of their winding power. 1.05 meters per turn of the handle. It's awesome to see how quickly this reel retrieves this feeder from 65 meters. Like in a flash, it's back at me. But anyway, here goes 65 meters with a 30 gram Guru window feeder, 2 pieces of corn on the hook, just to see what it does. It's not really about the fishing, it's about the casting. I need to be able to see whether this rod will be able to handle distances up to 65 meters, so that when I go out fishing at places like the Vaal Dam or wherever, and I need to go the distance, I can pick up this rod and do it. So here we go. As you can see from that cast, I gave it a nice whack. I didn't break anything. I didn't put too much stress on this rod. I'm not trying to cast to the horizon. I'm merely just trying to fish to a distance. And it sailed out there lovely. 30 gram window feeder. It's not even a heavy feeder. So I think, in all honesty, I'm very happy with how this rod performs. And I'm very happy with the fact that I can hit that clip at 65 quite easily. Now obviously there's not a lot of wind about at the moment. I'm fishing a 5-pound line with a 0.27 millimeter leader line, so it's not crazy heavy but also not crazy light. It's just the sort of average tackle and gear that you would use anywhere you go fishing, and that's the purpose, just to fish with normal gear and try and see what's achievable. I need you to look past all the rubbish on the bank, and I need you to focus on the rod and the reel that I want to show you quickly. So The reel, like I mentioned, the Okuma Seamar C5000 is a fantastic small compact little reel. There you can see, beautiful reel, capable of handling a lot of use and abuse. 1.05 meters retrieve per turn of the handle. It's making it a fantastic option for feeder fishing. It's got a nice drag on it. It's got a nice line-friendly line clip, and it works very nice with this rod. So let's move on to the rod. There you can see it's the Daiwa Matchman Method Feeder 12 foot. And if I go down to the guide, the first guide here, you can see I've replaced it. I've stripped off the old guides and I put a proper Fuji set of Fuji guides on here, the Fuji K-Series. Now they run all the way down to the tip. And what I've basically done, and the reason why I've done it, is because I've been trying to find a rod that's sort of mid-priced with good quality guides. And I'm not saying the other rods on the market is bad, but I cannot find a rod that's mid-priced but still gives me sort of Fuji quality components. So I bought this rod, it's nice and cheap, stripped it down and just customized it. And if you are in the same boat as me, then obviously you know where to come to customize your rods. But anyway, I must say, so far I'm really happy with this rod and reel combination. This is 5-pound detection mainline. It's 0.20 millimeters, so it's not crazy thin. And I'm fishing it with a 0.27 millimeter Maxima ultra green leader line. And I've been hitting that 65 meter spot out there. Absolutely no hassles at all. So has the modifications on the rod been worth it? I think so. On the bait tray for the day, I'm keeping it super simple. I've just got some ground bait, some particle mix. So it's just some hemp seed, a mixture of seeds, a little bit of corn. And I'm just scooping it into that caged window feeder and literally just plugging off the window with some ground bait like that. That's keeping it nice and slim, and that makes casting obviously a hell of a lot easier. So that's what I've been using. 2 grains of corn on the hook, and I'm just casting it out there at 65 meters, no problem at all. So there you can see, window feeder, 2 grains of corn. Let's get it out there on 65 with the customized Matchman 12-foot rod. Nice and easy on the clip. You'll notice that I've got a different rod now. If you look at the tip there, it's got a yellow tip and not the orange one, because this is actually the 11-foot Matchman. So same rod, same everything, same reel, same line, same everything. This is the 11-foot Daiwa Matchman, and it's stock standard. So there you can see, this is the guides that it originally is produced with. And I've got a method feeder on this rod, and I've just casted it out, first cast on a 30 gram method feeder, and it's gone 55 meters, absolutely no problem. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to push the limits because I need to compare stuff. I already took out the clip there, so I'm going to clip this up on 65 where I fished with that rod that I've shown you already, and then try and see if I can reach that. Now I know that is a bit extreme, but I mean, that's the point of testing stuff, isn't it? So let's see if this 11-foot with a method feeder that's more streamlined and more aerodynamic can do the job. The 11-foot Matchman is rigged up with a Preston banjo feeder. It's a 30 gram. I'll show you there. It's a 30 gram Preston banjo feeder that's baited up. Now I've actually went and I took the measuring sticks out because I want to measure this distance to make sure it's right. So these are 2 meters apart. So that's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, 30, 32, 34, 36, 38, 40, 42, 44, 46, 48, 50, 52, 54, 56, 58. That's clipped up 58 meters. Let's just do it proper and clip it up 58 and go 60, 62, 64, 65. I'm going to clip this up at 65. It's a crazy distance for this rod, I know, but I'm going to clip it up there and cast it and see if I'm going to hit it. If I'm not hitting it, then obviously I'll come closer and closer up to where I can see I'm going to hit the clip, and then remeasure that distance and see what the sort of capabilities of this 11-foot Daiwa Matchman standard version is. Remember, I still need to do the guides on this rod. So this is the standard version with a method feeder. Let's see what it's capable of. I think I'm biting off a bit more than I can chew here. I've got a 1.5 ounce tip in this 11-foot rod, 30 gram banjo feeder. I'm going to give it a good old whack, see if we can reach that 65 meter clip that I've just measured out. Obviously I'm standing to do this just to get a bit more energy in the rod, but here goes. Let's see. Dunk on the clip, no problem. 65 meters with 11-foot Daiwa Matchman. Can you imagine if I put Fuji K-Series guides on this? You can actually, when I've casted, I could hear the line go through these guides. Like, that's not a good thing, because it's taking away more distance, but it still reached 65, so that is incredible. That really is incredible for an 11-foot rod. Now I can't wait to see what that 12-foot will do if I put a method feeder on it. Crazy. Usually when something is too good to be true, it is. So nothing bad happened, but like I've shown you, I've casted this 11-foot Daiwa Matchman with the standard guides quite easily to that 65 meter clip with the 30 gram banjo feeder. But if you look closely, check that line there. Do you see that where the line is cut into the resin on the blank? So I've made about 6 casts with this rod, and out of the 6 casts, about 5 of them, the line twisted around this first guide, which just goes to show why it's so important to replace it with Fuji guides like on that rod. Now, although that is a 12-foot rod and it is easier to get to the required distance of 65 meters with the 12-foot rod, it's absolutely flawless trying to do it with a 12-foot rod because the guides have been replaced. So this again was just great proof why Fuji K guides are so much better than these style guides that they've put as a standard on these rods, and the main reason why I've actually gone and replaced it on the 12-foot, and I'm definitely going to do it on this 11-foot, because this test yet again just showed exactly why it's better. I was fiddling around with my rod. I was actually replaying some footage, and I lowered the rod down so that the stick could float over the line, and I just saw the tip sort of rattling. So I think I'm attached to a fish. It's not very big, but we'll see just now. At least, you know, a bite's a bite, so we'll take it. I'm fishing a method feeder, like I mentioned, the banjo feeder. Yes, I'm definitely attached to a fish here. So we'll see what it is just now. It didn't feel big at all, and now there's actually a bit of a bend in the rod. Hey, so it's nice just to get the blank off. I've got a little mainline wafter on here. Geez, like, what am I attached to now? You see how unpredictable fishing can be sometimes. I'm just gonna loosen this drag. And I'm also thinking about making these drags on these reels quick drag, converting them. It's not a difficult thing to do. It's a nice little carp. But that I will discuss in a different video. Let's see if I can get a net out here and try and net this fish. This rod was in the water about 10 minutes on that spot that I've fished and fed this morning on 65 meters, and the cell mainline wafter produced a little carp. And there we go, first one for the day. Okay, so here we go. So you can see, despite all the pollution and the bad water quality, the fish are actually in pristine condition. Always like that here at Roodeplaat. The fish are always nice and beautiful. I don't know how they survive it, but they do. Very lively little carp, so I'm not even going to try and handle him any further. But there we go, at least we didn't blank. And we've got a fish on the Daiwa Matchman 12 foot with the new guides and the Preston Banjo feeder. Let's get this fish back. Thank you, Mr. Carp. Back you go. So I've just caught that little carp, and I'm just going to rebait. So this is the bait that I'm using. These are the 6mm white cell little mainline wafters. It's like a coconut flavor, so very neutral. I've got the Guru QM1 hook, just with a bait band on the end there, you can see. And I actually just use the bait band, the elastic, stretch it over and just put the wafter on like that. I do like to move that little rubber all the way up, just so there's less separation between the hook and the bait, like that. And then the feeder, the banjo feeder, I just literally put it inside my ground bait tub like that. Scoop some ground bait in there, just enough to get a bite, like that. And then I'll fold the hook link and the wafter back in, just push it in slightly. And then what I've been doing is I've just been putting some of this fluorescent. This stuff has got a lot of green fluorescent in it, so I'm just been putting that on top just to get a bit of an impact, try and draw some attention, try and get some fish, entice them to feed. But that's it, simple anti-tangle, 30 gram, as you can see. Let's get it back out on 60 meters. No, sorry, 65 meters. This rod has been in the water for 15 minutes after I've caught that fish, and it hasn't produced any more indications or any bites. So I'm just going to quickly make a recast. Now, although this video, like I said in the beginning, is not about fishing, it was about testing these rods and obviously the improvements that I've made to it. And I think it's been a massive success. I'm really happy with how this short session has gone, and I'm confident that I'm going to convert the other Matchman rods that I've bought, which includes the 9-foot and then obviously that 11-foot that you've seen earlier. I'm definitely going to convert them to the same guides. The Fuji K guides definitely make a massive difference. It improves the rod overall so much, improves the casting capabilities, and although these rods aren't made of the highest standard carbon fiber, it's still a Daiwa quality rod. So it's made Daiwa UK, very good quality still. And by just replacing the guides, I think I've actually taken a very average, cheap-ish sort of rod and converted it into something decent. So I'm definitely going to copy and paste that to the other models. Now I'm sitting down at the moment. I'm going to cast this to that same 65-meter clip. So let's see. Perfectly on that clip, no problem at all. I think this might be my last cast for the morning. I need to be heading home. I've got a lot of work still to get done, but I think this has been a great session, just a short little morning session, testing this Daiwa Matchman method feeder, and the fact that I've brought this one, that I've replaced it with the Fuji guides and then tested it against the one that I did not replace the guides. The test that I've done and the fact that the 11-foot made those tangles on this first choker guide is testament to why improvements like this is actually improvements and why it's necessary and why we need to do it. So I've now taken this rod to the next level and I'm very happy with it. So I'm going to make my last cast. I'm still clipped up on 65. Drag is tightened down. I'm sitting down. The wind has picked up a little bit. It's coming from the left front. And I'm just going to try and hit that 65-meter spot for the last time and then give it some time. Maybe catch a fish while I'm packing up. So here goes. Oof, I've actually hit that clip too hard. But it's okay. I've whacked that out nicely. And again, these guides, you do not hear the line run through them. It's incredibly smooth and it just makes a massive difference. So if you want to improve your rod, seriously consider replacing the guides to the Fuji K guides. You will not regret it, I promise you. That feeder actually bounced back a couple of meters, so I'm not too confident that that's actually on the spot where it's supposed to be, but whatever. I still need a lot of practice to get my casting at that distance perfect, but the rod certainly is up to the job.